Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnavad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Status Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki. Shri Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki. Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, verse 39. Yat Sevaya Shesha Guhashaya Swarad Vipra Priyas Tushyati Kamam Ishvara Tad Eva Tad Dharma Parayar Vinitai Sarvatmana Brahma Kulam Nishevyatam Yat Sevaya Shesha Guhashaya Swarad Viprapriyastushati Kamanishara Tadeva Tadharma Pararvinitai Sarvatmana Brahma Kulam Nishevyatam Yat Sevaya Shesha Guhashaya Swarad Viprapriyastushati Kamam Ishvara Tadeva Tadharma Pararvinitai Sarvatmana Brahma Kulam Nishevyatam Yat Sevaya Shesha Guhashaya Swarad Viprapriyastushati Kamam Ishvara Tadeva Tadharma Pararvanitai Sarvatmana Brahma Kulam Nishevyatam. Mataji's. Yat, whose, sevaya, by serving, ashesha, unlimited, guha ashaya, dwelling within the heart of everyone, swarat, but still fully independent, Viprapriya, very dear to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Tushyati, become satisfied. Kamam, of desires. Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tat, that. Eva, certainly. Tat dharma parai, by following in the footsteps of the Lord. Vinitai, by humbleness. Sarva atmana, in all respects. Brahmakulam, the descendants of Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Nishevyatam, always being engaged in their service. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everlastingly independent and who exists in everyone's heart, is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and engage without reservation in the service of the descendants of Brahmins and Vaishnavas. For he is always dear to Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and they're always dear to him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said that the Lord is most pleased when he sees one engage in the service of his devotee. He does not need any service from anyone because he is complete. But it is in our own interest to offer all kinds of services to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These services can be offered to the Supreme Person not directly, but through the service of Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keba, which means that unless one serves the Vaishnavas and Brahmins, one cannot get liberation from the material clutches. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. By satisfying the senses of the spiritual master, one can satisfy the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, this behavior is not only mentioned in scriptures, but also followed by acharyas. Prithu Maharaj advised his citizens to follow the exemplary behavior of the Lord himself and thus engage in the service of Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Yatsevya shesha guhashaya swarad viprapriyas tushati kamam ishvara tadeva tad dharma pararvanitai sarvatmana brahma kulam nishevyatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everlastingly independent and who exists in everyone's heart, is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and engage without reservation in the service of the descendants of Brahmins and Vaishnavas. For he is always dear to Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and they're always dear to him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this verse, very wonderful verse, and in fact, next couple of verses at least, exploring the theme, you could say, going deeper into the theme, different aspects of the theme, which was discussed yesterday. What a wonderful verse that was yesterday. Amazing. That the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he's the greatest of the great, he obtained the opulence of his reputation by worshipping the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. And then the verse which we read on Tuesday also, same idea. Very much the same idea, and it's It's just amazing, and it's just wonderful. How important the devotees are, particularly and specifically, and how dear they are to the Lord, and the value, the benefit of serving them, worshipping them, and like this, it's such an essential point, which is oftentimes not really understood by many people. And just in keeping with the description from yesterday, that the first time it really struck me was when we were doing the Nandagram DVD, you could say, yeah. And we went to a place called Mehrana, which is the birthplace of Mother Yashoda. And it has a nice temple there. I mean, it's quite fairly substantial and just very nicely put together on the banks of Big Kund, Yashoda Kund. And we were speaking to the devotee in charge, who didn't speak English. What was his name? Mohan Das. Such a nice elderly devotee. And of course we didn't speak Hindi properly, but to some degree. And he explained, yes, she is Yashoda. She is Yashoda for Krishna. Yasha means fame. Ebe Jash Gusuk Tribhuvana, as we were just singing half an hour ago or so, that may his Yasha, may his glories be known throughout the three worlds. Yasha. So Yasha Da, this devotee explained that by her blessings, Lord Krishna was given Da, to give. Lord Krishna was given his fame. Yes, and in fact, Mother Yashoda actually gave him a blessing that because you're such a nice boy, such a good boy and good son, and so on like that, and you serve me and assist me so nicely, your fame will be known for thousands of years, long time. And that incident is there somewhere, not in the Bhagavatam specifically, but somewhere I've read a number of times. So by her blessing, Yashoda, Krishna was blessed, he became fortunate, and he became famous. His glories became known. Yes, by the blessings of his mother. So the previous verse was saying along those lines that he became so opulent. His opulence, of course, is unlimited and even ever expanding by this verse. He's pleased when he's offered nice prasad, nice bhoga. He's pleased when his names are chanted. He's pleased when someone cleans his temple, his place of residence. He's pleased in all these different ways, so many ways. But he's most pleased when he sees someone engage in the service of his devotee. Here, Prabhupada has stated, well, the Sanskrit term is Brahmakulam. Brahmakulam. So the kula, the families, the descendants, he translates it as, in the word for word at least, that so that it includes the Brahmins. It's not just the Vaishnavas. On the other day when I was giving class Tuesday, there was Prabhupada gave emphasis to sort of defining Brahmin, Vaishnav, different levels of Brahmins, and highest level of Brahmin is a Brahmin Vaishnav. So ultimately, it's all very well to be a Brahmin. It's good. It's not bad. It's all very well to be a Brahmin. But really you need to become a Vaishnav to make everything complete. Make your Brahminicalness complete. And without that, without becoming a Vaishnav, but being a Brahmin of some other sort, it's good, it's respectable. It's very respectable. But it's just not the same as being a Brahmin who is also a Vaishnav. Yes, so, and even there Prabhupada of course emphasized that so many of these Brahmins who are not Vaishnavas, they're impersonalists to one degree or another. Yes, Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Sri Giri Govardhan Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. And we note that in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, right towards the end, second to last chapter, is the story of the how Lord Krishna took Arjuna to Mahavishnu and brought back the sons, 10 sons of the Brahmin couple from Dwaraka, who had given birth to these 10 sons one after the other, but then they had all passed away, and then on top of passing away, they all just vanished. So there was no sort of cremation, or even with little babies, they generally don't cremate, actually, or often. They don't cremate, but they put the body on a little sort of raft thing and send it down some sacred river. Anyway, so that of course is a bit of a long story, but Arjuna tried to intervene after the death and vanishing of the 9th of the 10. He took a vow before the parents that I will protect your 10th child from whoever, whatever is killing them and taking them away. I'll do that. If I can't, I'll build a fire right in front of your house, just right nearby. Light big fire, just walk into it, sit down, and be consumed by the fire. So then the 10th child was coming, was just about to come, and Arjuna stationed himself there with his Gandiva bow and with arrows, and he was ready to do the needful completely. And the child was born, and as the description goes, the other 9 had died, like came out of the womb, and within moments, maybe minutes, but maybe just a very short time indeed, just they were born alive, but then they just died like that. And then very shortly after, they were just not there. So with Arjuna stationed there, in this whole mood of Kshatriya, giving protection from pain to people. So the child did not immediately die, but after some half an hour or something, after a little while, then child died and then vanished again. So Arjuna was building the fire, and he was just about ready to get into it. And who should intervene but Lord Krishna? And told him, don't do that, don't you do that. You come with me. We will retrieve the sons. We'll retrieve them all. And they went to Mahavishnu. And Lord Krishna asked Mahavishnu, can you please give us those 10 sons back? Mahavishnu said, sure, no problem. Just gave them back. And Krishna asked, why did you do this? Why did you steal them? And Mahavishnu said, because I wanted to see the two of you together. Because I knew what was going to happen, and I knew Arjuna would be ready to commit suicide, but I knew you would intervene and you wouldn't allow that to happen. So then, and I knew that you knew what had happened. So here they are, take them. Yeah, it's a bit of a long story, but then, so they did. They returned the 10 sons to their Brahmin parents in Dwaraka. And of course, those parents were just extremely happy. From 0 children and all that. Oh, pain and just amazing. Such a succession of disasters. And suddenly, 10 sons, just like that. So anyway, there's a discussion there about how it all happened in the purports, how it all happened, why things happened, and like that. And one of the points which is made is that the parents were Brahmins. They're not exactly Vaishnav Brahmins. In fact, they became very critical of Krishna because he was a member of the royal family there. And they were blaming the royal family, and they even particularly pointed out Krishna. So, but Krishna didn't intervene. And the point is made that if it was really, like the verse goes, go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, the protector of the cows, first the cows, and then the Brahmins. If that was really the point, and if that's really what Krishna is and how Krishna feels, then when the first child died and disappeared, Lord Krishna would have immediately come and gone to Mahavishnu and retrieved the child, and it would never have happened again. But Krishna didn't. And each time the Brahmins, the Brahmin family, husband and wife, they're just becoming more and more distressed. Just more and more distressed and becoming more and more angry. Because that Brahmin, the husband, he's like very knowledgeable Brahmin, and he understood his karma. Generally, people and we don't understand our karma like, in detail, what happened, what's happening, why things are happening. We don't understand, like in specific terms, that, someone stole my samosa because at a particular point in time, a particular person I stole their samosa, you see. Something like that. Well, not just something like that, but actually that, in detail. So the Brahmin, he said that, look, I have studied my karma, and I can see that I do not have the karma to lose my children. So what is going on? It's the fault of the government, not my fault. So it's the government's fault. So anyway, yes, the point is made then that if Krishna Brahmana Hitayacha, he's the protector of the Brahmins, then if that was really such a big thing to him, he would have just immediately intervened when the first time it happened, but he didn't, and not the second time, and not until, not even the 10th time, until Arjuna was just about to give up his life, right on the edge of giving up his life. Then Krishna intervened. So in that way, it's explained that actually the Brahmins, it's good, they're nice, it's all very well, but the devotees, the Vaishnavas, that's a different thing. They are really on a different level in terms of relationship with the Lord. Yes, the devotees are just on such a different level. And it's, on such a different level. So anyway, therefore, Prabhupada makes the point here, and it's a point made in quite a number of places, that the Lord is most pleased, even though he's pleased by so many types of service rendered by people, particularly by people who are actually devotees, but even people who are not devotees. But he is most pleased when he sees one engage in the service of his devotee. And of course Krishna, and it's stated here, Swarat, Ashesha Guhashaya Swarat. He's dwelling, he's unlimited, he's dwelling within the heart of everyone, but he's still fully independent, and he's everlastingly independent. No one can force him. I remember when I was a very new devotee in London, going out every day distributing books here and there. Often, there was a period when I was going out every day with Parthasarathi Maharaj, every day. But one day, out there on Oxford Street, the main street of London, I met this sort of young fellow, in his 20s, hippie type, long hair, and sort of, that style of clothing and general appearance. And I thought, he may be interested. So I tried to distribute a book to him, but he became very angry and refused. And he said that I have seen God, like that, very emphatically. And so, I don't need your book, so get out. And, it was a bit of from thinking this is a candidate for taking a book to being treated quite rudely and, in such a way that I have seen God. And, but then just a little later I thought, he has seen God. No, he hasn't. Such a person never gets to see God. Not while they're in that condition. No chance. Yeah, because you can't impose yourself on the Lord. He doesn't work like that. He just doesn't work like that at all. Yes, so So even with devotees, you can say, he doesn't need the service of the devotee. Like if we don't serve him, well, let's say Raj Bhoga, after some hours, he will go hungry and, his tummy will rumble and he'll feel a bit, dissatisfied. It's not really going to be like that. It's not. He accepts the Raj Bhoga, but he accepts it not for his own interest because he wants to eat some nice foodstuffs, but he accepts it because it's in the interest of the devotees who have prepared it and who are offering it. That's why he accepts it. Yeah. So it's not in his interest like he needs anything, he may be short of anything like that. But it's in the interest of the devotees to have the opportunity to render service, and in that way come closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even having said that, Srila Prabhupada then makes the point that these services which we are offering to the Lord, which is in our interest and not his, but these services cannot be offered directly to him, but they must be offered via the devotees. Yes. So therefore, when we're doing these, specifically in regard to Bhoga, Prasadam, when we do the offering, first thing we do is present to the spiritual master. And at least the way it's done now is that we present in front of the spiritual master, including all the arti paraphernalia and the Bhoga, and we take permission to offer to the Lord. And with the permission of the spiritual master, which includes, of course, the parampara, with their permission, then we offer to the Lord. But sort of, how would you say, riding on the backs of the spiritual master and the members of the parampara. It's really how it is. And that's what Prabhupada is saying here. Narottam Das Thakur sings Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keva, which means that unless one serves the Vaishnavas and Brahmins, one cannot get liberation from the material clutches. There is a translation of this by Srila Prabhupada where he says, unless one has smeared the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees on one's body, one will not be able to be liberated or go back to Godhead. That's nice, isn't it? Smear the dust. That's what Prabhupada says at that particular time. It's sort of the same point, but just a bit more dramatic, vivid way of expressing it. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, part of a famous verse, Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Yasya means that person who, like in the verse itself, in the Sanskrit, the first word is yat, which in the word for word is whose. So yasya is the form like sevaya, by serving. So yasya means by by whose prasadad, by whose mercy, Bhagavat prasada, one gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Yes, that person, the spiritual master, that person by whose mercy one gets the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada translates it, by satisfying the senses of the spiritual master, one can satisfy the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada, in different places, makes the point that when one serves the spiritual master, one should really look after the spiritual master, actually. It's not just, render some service here, take some prasadam. But one should really look after the spiritual master and offer all, whatever, all comforts even, and just whatever can be offered. Yes, and we've mentioned before, and I'm sure I think you'd remember, how Prabhupada arrived at one temple somewhere in America once, and the devotees, he landed at the airport, and the devotees picked him up in a Rolls Royce and took him back to the temple, and one reporter was there at the airport and witnessed this, the Rolls Royce. And back at the temple, this reporter said, I saw they picked you up in a Rolls Royce, but, Rolls Royce, that's sort of almost like the height of luxury motor vehicles. And you're meant to be a spiritual person. You're meant to be a renunciate and not into things like that at all. But you accepted that, so what is that? It's not very good. And Srila Prabhupada said, you're right, it's not, in effect he said, you're right, it's not very good. Because a Rolls Royce is just made of tin. They should have picked me up in a vehicle made of solid gold, because I'm the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and should therefore be treated like the Lord. Anyway, Prabhupada, so expert at responding to sort of funny people or anybody. But yes, by satisfying the senses of the spiritual master, one can satisfy the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So then Prabhupada says, thus this behavior is not only mentioned in scriptures, like here, but also followed by acharyas. Acharyas meaning those people who teach by their achar, by their activities. Yeah. So therefore Prithu Maharaj is advising the citizens, follow the behavior of the Lord. And what is that behavior? Engage in the service of the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. So you do the same thing. Follow in the footsteps of the Lord, because that's what the Lord does. And in fact, that is what the Lord most appreciates. He may appreciate, like Saturday is a Ekadasi. He may appreciate your very nice carrot halava, but he appreciates more when you serve his devotees. Hare Krishna. Let me just mention one thing of Srila Jiva Goswami, which I mentioned on numerous occasions. He says that serving the devotees is a more effective way of developing love for God than trying to develop love for God, which, very nice way of putting it. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhu.
It's kind of amazing that the person would criticize Prabhupada. Someone else may actually own a Rolls Royce and is very greedy, but they won't say something. And someone picks them up in the car. Obviously, it's not their car. If they pick you up in a bad car, can they accuse you of having a bad car? If they pick you up in a good one, it isn't yours. It's amazing how the criticism is done. It's kind of like if someone swims like 8 hours a day or plays cricket like 12 hours a day, they think, wow, that's great. But you practice devotion. Isn't that kind of extreme? It's amazing how they seem to judge the spiritual side more, even when the person is becoming greedy.
Right. Yeah, okay. And just interesting point, which I've also mentioned on a number of occasions, about seeing we're talking about Rolls Royces and cars and, taking people. I have seen with my own eyes, actually on a multitude of occasions, dogs being taken in a Rolls Royce. And one dog sitting in the front seat, passenger seat, and looking around, surveying the scene, being chauffeured in a Rolls Royce for free. Hare Krishna.
Tukaram in Laguna Beach called it the cult of dog worship.
Okay. Yeah.
I tell some people, they say, yes, I belong to that.
Krishna. Well, Krishna has a pet dog.
Yes.
Maybe two, but at least one. It's described Rupa Goswami describes in Radha Krishna Ganadesh Dipika. Hare Krishna. Thank you. ठीक है. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.